Okay, so today, and I do want to have time to review for your next exam. Today we're talking about financial economics. So I need you to have a calculator out. We'll do a few problems. If you want to open your textbook to chapter 17, let's just kind of go to the back, and I'll show you what we'll be doing. So on pages 401, and you will have a couple of calculations like this on your exam, so you want to make sure that you practice this. All right? I think we're on page 401. We're going to try definitely to complete problems 2, 3, 4, and possibly 5. Okay? 2, 3, 4, and 5 in the end of your chapter today. Just make sure you have a calculator, one that has an exponent. It'll make it easier for you in regards to calculations. Okay? So let's start with financial economics. I kind of really like this stuff, so as we go through this particular chapter, we'll talk about some real life examples. I think the authors did a good job on this particular chapter, that it's not too overwhelming, but enough that you get your palate wet with financial economics. There is a model associated with this chapter, and that is the security market line model. So we will be talking about that as well. All right, so let's get started. First thing we want to talk about, and hopefully this will move for me, is the difference between economic investment and financial investment. So I'm going to give you a few notes, and then I'll break in with a couple of little problems here and there as we move through this chapter. Now, when we take a look at economic investment, and most of you in the classroom have already had Accounting 101, so you're really acclimated with financial investment. But you're looking at, old and new assets, what the real estate asset is. But economic investment is just looking at new additions or replacement. When we say capital stock, that's investment in regards to, for example, a community, in regards to housing, equipment. It can be investment in a new school. From a governmental standpoint. It can be investment into a new industrial park in Monroe County. That's what we're looking at with economic investment. Financial investment, you guys looked at quite a few things in regards to investment in Accounting 101 and 151. But economics, we're looking at new additions or replacements of capital stock. So the key here is our capital stock. It can be. Or infrastructure, that type of thing, yeah. Like brand new highways and things of that sort.
Like if you had it, you're building the on-ramp.
Oh, okay.
So,
okay.
That's like.
And that would be considered, yes, because we're replacements to improve the infrastructure. Okay. To improve the infrastructure. As we know, 33 is always being improved, right? And 80 is always being improved. Okay? Always being improved. So I want you in your book to turn to page 383, and I'm going to refer to your book quite a bit today. And in that, on page 383, they're talking about the use of money and looking at how we use this money in regards to the present value of money. All right? So we can look at basically the use of money, the present day value, the future returns from cost. We want to make sure that our ROI, our return on investment, is worth it. So, let's see, I think I should be able to engage this. And as I said, probably all of you are familiar with this particular calculation in regards to X dollars. Okay, I moved it, sorry. Let me go back here. All right. So X dollars today, simple calculation, 1 plus whatever the interest rate is on that in T years time. So we're looking at the number of years in regards to how much we're able to earn. As you write this down, when I was yet a wee child in the public school system, and you guys tell me if you guys had this experience, we used to have what we call bank day. Did you have bank day?
No. Bank day?
Bank day. And I swear we were in kindergarten. And the teacher would open a savings account at the local bank for us. I still have my bank card. I won't tell you what year. But we had a bank card where we had a savings account, and this was teaching us the value of money. And we were like kindergarten, first grade. And
Were you in public school?
I was in public school. And we could bring in a deposit once a week. Like, it'd be like a dime or a quarter, you know, it wasn't a whole lot of money. We weren't throwing around 20s or anything of that sort. But the thing about it is we would get a stamp in our bank book. The teacher would take the money and deposit it into our account. Take our book, and the bank would stamp it to show us what our new balance was, and we would actually be accruing interest. I mean, it was a little student savings account. But when you are like 6 or 7 years old, and back then, I won't tell you how long ago, and you got like 25 bucks in the bank, you're feeling okay. But it taught us the value of saving. And do they do that? Am I like so antiquated?
They don't do that.
And they should.
They should. Yeah.
They really should.
They should.
Because you need to understand how to make money work for you and how to make money grow. So if I invest $100 today at 8%, in 1 year it's going to be worth $108, 2 years $116.64, and in 3 years $125.97. As I said, might be a little antiquated, but you know, might be
It's a great idea.
Okay, it kind of reminds me of, and you guys, like, because it's a holiday time, you know the little Christmas Story movie, the kid that wanted the gun, the BB gun?
Yeah.
All right, Christmas Story. It kind of reminds you of that kind of teacher. You know, in his classroom, he was trying to get the BB gun to shoot your eye out. But, you know, it was those kinds of events. All right, so here's our model. Calculate what you should pay for an asset today. We're looking at future payments. So we need to know what that present value of those future payments are. The present value of future payments. So calculation here is whatever that dollar amount is divided by 1 plus the interest rate, which is key. We want to make sure that we're getting a good interest rate. And that is to an exponent of how many years I'm working with. So after you copy this down, let's go ahead and do a little bit of practice. Everybody got a calculator, or somebody near somebody that has a calculator? Okay, you just need an exponent, that's all. That's all.
Well, for investing purposes, just out of curiosity, will like the compound only be once a year?
Yeah, we're
For
just
the sake of this class? Okay.
yeah, we're not doing anything too difficult. No.
Biannual or semi-annual?
No. Nope, 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 nope. Okay, so when you're done, let's go to page 401, excuse me, 401. And let's take a look at problem number 1. All right? Let's read this through, and I'd like you to solve this at your table. Suppose you invest $100 today in risk-free investment. I will explain risk-free investment. It's basically governmental investment. It's open market securities like we did about the Fed. And I got to give you guys the review of that, don't I? Okay, I will. But in regards to understanding risk-free, government securities for the most part have the lower interest rates. They don't, their risk rate is low, so it's almost considered risk-free. So this is the kind of investment. And that 4% annual interest rate compound, rounded in full dollars, what will be the value of your investment 4 years from now? Can you guys go ahead? We have a formula here. Let's see what you come up with. Number 1. On page 401. And you're doing it 4 years.
But the bank always rounds down, no matter what, if I'm a 10%. So
Wait, did you guys do 100 over 4 plus 4?
No.
Is 4 years.
Because you know how much it is today.
Yeah, you know how, so we're working here. I'm just bringing this back, right here. This is where we're working. Okay, so I'm going to give you guys to work this together. Work together, please.
Like say you got $170 and you put.
One plus now higher interest rates.
And then
So one plus.
an interest on top of 4.
For 4 years, rates are 4
Then people go in times 4 year.
That one's to figure out how much you
It didn't work both ways. Well, I rounded to 170. Yeah. And what do you get? Yeah, finally the start.
So you get 62,000.
Yeah.
What?
Is that 100?
Yeah.
What do you get? Raised to the 4th power outside of that quantity.
You can do it each year, or you can just do it all together. 4 years.
116.90.
Yeah, 117. I mean, you can just raise it to the 4th power and bam, you're done.
Yeah, that's what it is.
But they might do it year to year. So that's okay.
If we round to 2 decimal places on the exams, do you take all points?
No, it'll be a multiple choice, and it's very clear. I just looked at it the other night. So yeah, you can do it each year, or you can do it per, just with the exponent for it. It does. It does. It does.
Times 4, another 4. So that would be year. That's year 1. So they would get 104
And that's in principal. Raised to the 4th for 4 years. Times
Okay, so we got answers?
Yes.
All right, so we can do it each year, and I'll put that up, or we can do it just with an exponent. Let's just start with the grandioso number. So what, after 4 years, what should we have with rounding? Can I go with this table? What did you get?
Yeah, 116.99.
Which would round to 117. Did everybody get that after year 4?
Wait, 117 or 167?
117, if you round it. Okay, you did not get 117? Yeah, your table? Oh, okay. I thought you said no, we didn't. Everybody okay? So I'll do each year, but we can also do it, pardon? To the nearest dollar. So we're rounding, right? All right, so year 1, if I just do it per year, 1 plus 0.04, excuse me. And we're starting with $100. It's going to give us $104. And then for year 2, it's 1 plus 0.04 times 104. And that's going to give us $108.16. For year 3, we're going to do 1 plus 0.04 times 108.16, and that's going to give us 112.48 or 49 if you round. And then year 4, 1 plus 0.04 times the 112, and that's going to then give us the 116.98. We'll go to 117. Okay? Or you could have just done it where you were looking of taking your 1 plus 0.04 and just raising it to the 4th power times 100, and you would still get, the 117. All right? So just, again, using your exponent, easy enough. This is like a counting day 1 or 2, right? We okay with that? Okay? All righty. So we're looking at, again, present value. We want to make sure that this investment is worth it. All right, now, turn in your book. I like to talk about this, and I'm going to divide not divide the class, but open your book, and hopefully you've already read through this. On page 385, I want you to tell me, what would you do? Okay, here's the thing. We got Zoe. Zoe won the lottery on page 385, right? And Zoe won the lottery for $100 million. Okay? Now, Zoe has an option. Zoe can do, one lump sum. Okay? Or Zoe can do $5 million per year for 20 years. Okay? Now, and it's $100 million.
So she can take $100 million at one time?
Well, she's going to lose some.
She's going to
lose some taxes because there is an interest rate. Yeah, there's that. Uncle Sam's going to get his little piece, right? So, now, and the interest rate we're looking at is 5%. Okay, which seems a little low.
So she's getting extra 5%. She makes it over 20 years.
Yeah. Well, the installments, the 20 installment payments, if she does that, is going to be $62,311,051. So now I just want to kind of poll the class. How many of you're going to have to pay taxes, so you're not going to get as much, all right? So you get 62 because you have the interest. How many of you would do lump sum? Okay, keep them raised.
Wait, what happens if I die?
Okay, well, we'll hold that thought. Hold that thought, Pramod, because that's a good question. All right, for those of you that would do lump sum, because you've read through this, tell me why you would do lump sum if you were Zoe.
You get more in the long run.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay, because, you're paying interest. All right. Who else? Back here. Darren, I'll get to you, Bernie, too. What, you would take lump sum?
Yeah, because you don't know what can happen between now and those 20 years.
Okay. You take it? Bernie, why do you take lump sum?
If you take, let's say you said you will get 62 million.
Mm-hmm, 62 million.
62 million, right?
It's a long number. Okay.
Let's say you put $50 million in the bank. You can live off the interest. I don't need
think
you
it's
to
like this.
slowly pay me my money. I'll live off my own interest and be fine.
Okay.
Moderately,
Okay. Now, you would take lump sum, Ramon?
No, wait.
Okay, you get the $5 million a year for 20 years.
Because, what happens if our currency, goes up and down?
Okay, good point. In purchasing power. Your purchasing power of your American dollar. What do you say?
Kind of get to know. That's what I was thinking about, the value of the dollar.
Okay, that will fluctuate.
It can go down for all you know with the depth that we're in.
Okay.
The dollar can go way down. It wouldn't be worth it.
So if I get this 62 mil now, I know what's happening in the kind of the lay of the land, purchasing power now versus the installments. How many of you would do the installments? Okay. Shan, why would you do the installments rather than lump sum?
Because if you get all that money handed to you at once, you're going to blow through it. At least over the 20 years, you're guaranteed that I don't trust myself at all.
Financially.
Like,
okay.
Over the 20 years, you know you're guaranteed that amount every year, so you don't have to worry about, hey, you know.
Okay. All right. Lump sum or installment? You would do installment?
I would do installment. Yeah.
Okay. Now, the one thing I need your attention, the one thing about lottery that you have to understand, when you die, it stops. You cannot will it to anyone.
That's okay.
So, okay, who else? Installments, back here? Why would you do installments?
Don't spend your money in one place.
Okay.
I feel like I would have a better control of what I spend my money on.
So if I'm getting $5 million a year, I still have money to invest to make my money grow.
Oh, yeah.
You know, money to live and money to invest. Versus taking 62 that I gotta
and then blow through it.
But you're not guaranteed
Okay.
even the next year. You're not guaranteed to live tomorrow.
Okay. Let's hold this up, because I want to ask, how many of you over here, Chris, at your table would do installments? Doug, how many of you guys said installments?
Two of us will.
What did you guys say? I saw some hands here.
Installments.
You would do installments?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Back here. Would you guys do installments or lump sum? You would do lump sum? Okay. Jeff? You would?
Yeah.
Give the 62 and make it work.
Yeah.
Okay, and have all those relatives. Well, either side, relatives.
Yeah, relatives still gonna flock out.
This is going to come and tell you I'm blood related. Okay, Shannon, you had a comment. Yes.
Even if you don't live with, like, the amount of time that you're taking over.
For the 20 years from the time you win the 100 million?
Yeah, you could still set up your family pretty decent.
No.
Like, you can't.
Yes, you can.
Yes, you can.
Yes, you can.
No way.
Yes, you can.
Okay.
You don't have to go to the house to live that off. They don't need straight up cash to live off.
Hold on,
Like, you can still set them up pretty
You worried about
And you're not setting up your whole
going through your
family.
money all in one
Okay, wait a minute. Okay, you have the floor, Bernie. I want you to make your comment, then I'm going to go to Erica.
You're worried about going through your money all in one sum, right? But you're not realizing that $5 million is just a little taste. So if you're worried about that now, you'll be broke by the end of the year, and then next year you'll be looking for that $5. It's like living from check to check instead of doing it the right way.
Okay.
$62 million.
All right, Erica, you had a comment. There'll still be some taxes that will still kind of equate. It's not like you can get $5 million, every year. There'll still be taxes associated with it. Oh, believe me, there's still taxes. There's still taxes. It's interesting. Okay, food for thought. Just want you to know, because I don't know where the lottery is now, like in the state of Pennsylvania or whatever, the big lotto that benefits senior citizens. Most people that win lotteries, those big mega lotteries, are broke within 2 to 3 years after winning them. And most people select this, that win those, and within 2 to 3 years, some are worse off than they were before they won the money. And that's where understanding how to make your money work for you and how the tool of money, to use money as a tool. It is a mechanism that you use to build wealth. Money is not wealth. You build wealth with money. But so many of those individuals, like it was a mega jackpot or something, and they win millions of dollars, 2 to 3 years. They're like back in a trailer park, that bad. I'm serious. I mean, I've seen documentaries. It's just really bad. Yes.
I get the 62 million. I'm hiring you as
All the way.
I'm not worried.
Okay. Okay. The other part of this slide, I think, in where we are right now in our world today, is professional athletes in salary caps. And I want to kind of throw this out to the class to talk about, do you think, salary caps in professional sports is the right thing to do? Is it necessary? The athletes that are financially guided well understand that if they defer their compensation for a later period in time, they actually are benefiting themselves as long as the purchasing power of the dollar is going up and they can negotiate a really good contract. So deferred compensation, like, okay, you know, you're going to pay me $7 million, I'll wait a year or so, but, you know, in the meantime, I still got plenty of money to live on. And having that deferred compensation with interest and all of that, if they know how to, you know, financially maneuver, they actually are benefited by doing deferred compensation. But let's talk about salary caps. What do you think? I mean, because this is what we're looking at. We're looking at financial economics deals with money. Is it something that you think, you know, should be enforced even more so? I'm just throwing it out, so please respond. Just in professional sports. Just in professional sports.
I feel like it's a bit unfair.
To cap the salary?
To cap the salary, just because, you know, every sports player is not the same. You know,
okay.
To tell me this is my max that I can make.
Okay.
Is kind of like, you know, how you compare LeBron James to a, you know,
to a nobody
kid that just came in, you know.
Okay.
And say everyone, you know, no one can reach above this.
Okay. Yeah. Case in point, I had one of my students a year or so back do their research on professional sports and use LeBron James in Cleveland as their example, and how much money and income flow did Cleveland lose when he left. It was very, very, very thorough research, just in regards to the economics of sports, first of all, and then to use them as an example. And, you know, so they're dancing in the streets because he's back now, but they lost so much in regards to, you know, multiplier effects within the city just because he was there. You know, those pebbles just stopped flowing. So we shall see what happens. Any other comments? Salary caps. I want to talk about this because this is where we are in today's society and professional sports.
I don't really look at it as like the player. I know some players might deserve more than the max, but I look at it as like the organization as a whole. Like some obviously don't have as much money as others. So
yeah.
If there was no max, the wealthier ones could buy all the top players.
Yes.
And then the ones without, you know, the money would be stuck with bad teams year round, and then kind of wouldn't be good for the viewers.
And this is true. It kind of, in some ways, kind of levels the playing field. You know, when we do the draft, and when we look at, you know, trading time. So, you know, if you were down in the bottom ranks of the season last year, you have an opportunity to get somebody that will help boost you up, hopefully. Okay. Other comments in regards to professional sports salary caps? Okay. Big area though that we have to kind of take a look at. All right. What I will not go over in your chapter, if you want to, and that is looking at stocks, bonds, and mutual funds, whether they are actively or passively managed. You can read through that. That's fine. What I want to talk about next is just taking a look at calculating the rate of return. So this I need to have in your notes. And this will lead us into what we're doing next. So, when we're looking at assets, and I'll give you an example. Okay? Some kind of investment. As that asset price decreases, your return, your rate of return will increase. Okay? And so let me kind of move to where looking at. And it's an activity in the market that we call arbitrage. All right? So, as my asset prices decrease, my rate of return increases. Here's my analogy, guys. You know I have to have an analogy. It's just like a bathtub and all this. All right. So here's my analogy. Okay, we got boat A and we got boat B. Okay, what happens in regards to investment? You know, just in regards to the market. You know, people decide to invest. Let's say asset A or boat A has a lower price. So, you know, I'll just use $1, this is 2. So what happens is, and let me make this a different color, is that, you know, we start to invest in boat A, right? So when we start to invest in boat A, what happens to the price of boat A? It starts to increase, right? And the boat gets a little heavier in the water, right? Well, in the meantime, when the price of boat A starts to increase, right? The price of boat B starts to do what? Because we're all investing money in boat A. What does it start to do? Decrease. And so then what do? We jump from boat A to boat B. But when we jump to boat B, what happens to the price of boat B? It starts to increase. We've all jacked and left boat A, so what happens to the price of boat A when we leave boat A? It starts to decrease. And then what happens? Boat A looks like a better investment, so we do what?
Go back.
We jump back to boat A.
Okay then.
Alrighty?
No more boat investment.
That's what this is saying. That's what this definition is saying. We literally kind of way back and forth, boom, 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 until it reaches a point where it actually kind of levels off, all right? So I'm giving you the book definition of arbitrage. I like my analogy a little better because I think it makes more sense to students, okay? So it's back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
Clearly it's an inverse relationship.
Yes.
How about we just buy both boats and be happy?
If we would.
Yeah, so
Okay, now with any investment, again, this is financial economics. So with any investment, there is risk involved. How many of you have already gone onto Yahoo Finance? You've already gotten your beta information for your corporation. We determine and we define risk involved in investment by its beta. All right, so as you write this down, turn to page 392 in your textbook, and here's our model. This is our security market line model for this particular chapter. So when I told you that when we look at risk-free assets, we're basically looking, and if you look in that model on page 393, we're looking at short-term U.S. government bonds. So that's like, you know, a 90-day T-bill, something that's really, you know, not going to be out there in the deep water. But the only thing about it is your interest rate, or your average expected rate of return is low. All right, does everybody see that model? Your average expected rate of return is low because it's considered risk-free. The interest rate is so low. Okay. And again, that risk is determined by its beta. You guys talked about beta in accounting? Oh, you know, because it's more finance. I mean, it's more finance, not accounting. In finance, you actually learn how to calculate beta. Okay, and you'll see beta, it's the big italicized B, okay? Greek letter of beta, like alpha, beta, alrighty? Now, so we're looking at investments, we're trying to make sure, and that's why I didn't go over stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. When we say diversifiable risk, we're basically having a mixture of stocks and bonds, and the more that we have that mixture and have what we consider mutual funds, the lower the risk, because we're literally not investing all of our money into one basket of apples. So we have some in stocks, we have some in bonds. My investment students, as I said, they'll take about $35,000 in equities, in actually active funds, and then about $15,000 in fixed income, which is the lower risk, the ones that have the lower risk beta. So, you know, you don't have everything in one basket. That's what we're referring to in regards to diversifiable risk. When it's non-diversifiable risk, again, basically looking at, you know, everything in one basket, and then also looking at what's happening in the business cycle. All right, so now let's take a look at that particular model, but before I do, I want to talk about, you know, this seems to be an understanding this particular slide in investment. Okay, don't write yet. Don't write. Please don't write. Okay, here's my reference. I'll give 2 points to anybody who gets this right. You guys remember the movie Willy Wonka?
Yes.
Okay, now I'm not talking Johnny Depp with his teeth and weirded out, because Johnny just weirds it out. I mean, when they said he was going to do Alice in Wonderland, I thought, man, it's going to be so weird. It's just going to be somewhere. And anywho, I mean, I'm telling you, when my daughters were little, and it's Willy in the Chocolate Factory is the one he did, right?
Yeah.
They were literally scared because he had the big glasses, the real pale skin, and the big white teeth. Oh. They like the Gene Wilder, the original, all right, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. There was one of the little bratty kids that was, you know, getting into trouble on the tour. And when we look at time preference, that little kid sang a song regarding, I want it now.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, raise your hand. What was her name? What was her name? 2 points. I want it now. Veruca Salt. Veruca Salt, 2 points. Veruca wanted it now. That's what we're talking about in regards to time preference here for investors. So if you are willing to wait, and looking at your investment portfolio, you'll have a better overall experience in investment. Now you can write. Because now we're looking at the average expected rate of return as it relates to the rate that compensates for time preference. Remember I told you this arbitrage is back and forth? Boom, boom, boom. Can't do that. You will never get ahead here. So you have to be able to invest in a corporation that you know the management philosophy, you understand their investment philosophy, and it's something you can stick with. So you look at that as it relates to the rate that compensates for risk, all right? Now the I with the postscript of F is the interest rate for risk-free investments. That's the government rate, okay? That's what that stands for. This is risk-free. The interest rate, which we know is going to be a little lower, right? Remember I told you for government investments? Plus whatever risk premium, and that's that, you know, that overall, if I'm going to jump into the deep water here in my beta, then we're looking at that. A combination of that will give us what we consider to be our expected rate of return. But a willingness to wait, willingness to wait. Okay, so here we go. Asset prices decrease, you know, our rate of return increases, but we also have to say this: as risk increases, our average rate of return will also increase. So they are positively related. What do I mean by that? Are we done with this slide? Can I move?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, it's an F. It's I with a subscript of F. That is interest-free interest, the risk-free interest rate. Risk-free interest rate set by the government. Okay? Now, look at page 393 in your book. Here is the model. Okay? Let me just get this all up here. All right. So, now, when we look at the security market line, the risk-free asset, again, short-term government bonds, the interest rate or the average rate of return is fairly low. From 0 to 1.0 in beta, you're swimming on the shore. You know, you're swimming where you can still see your toes in the sand. Right? Beyond 1.0 and above, you're more in the deep water, deep sea fishing. Okay, your risk level is higher, but with higher risk level, look at your average rate of return. It's also increasing. So this market security line basically is, you know, where this is placed on the market, it looks at a couple of things. Number one, the willingness for individuals to wait for the return on their investment, all right? And then also those that were willing to take the higher rate of risk. Okay, again, beyond the 1.0. So the more risk that you take, the deeper the water, the higher your average rate of return, because you're swimming with the big boys. All right, here you're still going to see sand, see your toes in the sand. All right, so that's what this market security market line refers to. You know, you can stay over here, it's cool, but your average rate of expected rate of return is going to be small. So how much risk are we willing to invest? And that's what we're looking at in this particular model. Okay? The higher the risk, right here. As risk increases, your average rate of return increases. That's what that model shows. All right, so where's my arbitrage? Here we go. All right, remember I told you with arbitrage, basically, oh, let me go back. Okay, we kind of go back and forth from boat to boat, boom, 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 until we kind of stable out. That's what this model is showing. So, you know, I'm jumping from A to B, C, back and forth, and then that jump gets a little bit smaller and smaller until I kind of settle in at point B. And that is going to be my average expected rate of return. We're going to have, in those red dots, that's or red triangles, that's why some are pointing down and some are pointing up. It is the back and forth of, you know, asset investment. All right, and as prices change, so I'm back and forth, and then I kind of settle, and I look at what's happening overall in my market. Okay, so that's that back and forth, but eventually then settles. Okay. Turning your book, I'm going to have you look at it, and then I'll just give you the notes. Do read through the Ponzi scheme on Bernie Madoff. It's, you know, pretty sad. It's just sad. Bernie Madoff. That's 395. Okay, 395. All right. So just want to take a look at, you know, what is going to make our security market line literally increase from SML1 to SML2. So we're actually having a shift in this entire market line. Who sets interest rates? The Fed. If our risk-free interest rate is, say, like 1%, and there's a change in interest rates, okay, set by the government, this all affects our market security line. So again, you look at it here in the book, and I'll just give you your notes. Because the Fed, the FOMC, which is made up of what? What is the FOMC made up of? 7 governors and?
Five
Bank presidents. Okay, which one has the permanent seat?
New York.
New York. Okay? So, the Fed expansionary monetary policy leads to lower interest rates. It will be a shift or downward. When they decide to increase interest rates, our SML actually shifts upward. Slope in the SML increase due to increased investor risk. We know that. That slope of that line, that means more investors are willing to accept higher risk. Higher risks. Okay? Because who controls the money supply? The Fed. Okay. Alrighty. Not going to be able to do all problems, but let's just take a look. I want to give you a guidance on a few, because these are most of the things that you're going to have on the weekend on Connect. Okay? And just let's take a look at number, let's see. In number 2, let me just kind of put this one up at 8%. So go back to page 401, number 2. I mean, let's do number 3. All right, so we have a risk-free investment to make 3 future payments of $100 in 1 year, 102 and 103. The Federal Reserve has set the risk-free interest rate at 8%, and then we do the same thing at 10%. So basically what that's going to look like, okay, so we're looking at the sum of present value in future payments. All right, so I'm doing number 3, and then I'm going to give you some information for your exams. All right, so I'm at 8%, right? So basically, I got $100 invested, and it's 1 plus 0.08, and this is year 1, so that's going to be like 92.59259 and so forth. Okay? And then in year 2, still the $100, right? We still have $100. I still have 8%, and it's going to be 2 years, so my exponent is going to be 2 for 2 years. That's going to equal 85.733882, and it's a real long number, but we're going to round. And then for the 3rd year, 100 divided by 1.08, and it's 3 years. And in doing that, we'll have 79.383224, and that'll be year 3. And when we add this all together, the summation of that is going to be about $257.71. Okay? Pardon? Yeah, this is question number 3. And you would do the same thing with 10%, okay? Same thing with 10%. Yeah, stuff you just did. Just want to kind of get you ready for Connect this weekend. All right? Okay, let's pull out your answer sheet from the video. Okay? Yeah, do you have your sheet? Okay. All right. So, I'm going to go through. Let's make sure you have the right answers. Look up for her. Oh, okay. I have it in Blackboard. I think I have the YouTube connected in our Blackboard channel. I'll show it to you after class. I'll come to my office. I'll give you the sheet. All right. Who was allowed to issue money during the 1800s? Banks, stores, anybody could. There were over 30,000 different types of currency in circulation. 30,000. That's question number 1. Question 2, why did people lose faith in the banking system? Because banks ran out of money, sometimes closed, the bank panics. All right. Federal Reserve Act 1913 by President Woodrow Wilson. Why is the Fed, who's the next section? You guys? Are you guys structured?
No.
Huh? Oh, you all reluctant. Let me see somebody's paper. Why was the Fed considered a decentralized? Yeah,
We were, but we had to.
Oh, okay. Why is the Fed sometimes called a decentralized bank, both private and public? Because the public arm of the Fed is the Board of Governors. Is the Board of Governors, because those are appointed by the President, confirmed by the Senate. The private part of the Fed is the 12 regional banks and their Board of Directors.
This is the public arm.
The Board of Governors is the public piece. And then the private piece is the Board of Directors and Presidents of the 12 regional banks. What are the checks and balances? Is that they are appointed by the President and confirmed by the Senate. Okay. 3 primary roles of Federal Reserve banks. I don't think I have an exam, but they issue money, they clear checks, and they give credit. No, we're on the final. Some of it's on Monday's exam, so I want to make sure you have the right answers. Definitely on the final. Monetary policy. Main focus, the primary focus of monetary policy is price stability and economic growth. What does the FOMC do when they meet? They decide on the interest rates and the amount of credit available in our system. Do you see how much more powerful, versus, not that senators and all those, of course, they're very powerful. Amount of money and credit available. Mm-hmm.
This information is on the chapter. That was in.
I think you're going to have to watch the YouTube, and I think you have to come with me and get the worksheet. Conditions that lead to inflation: when the supply of money grows faster than goods and services. Bank supervision. Who establishes the laws? Congress. Why does the Fed attempt to make banks both safe and sound? To increase public confidence. What do they examine when they examine the bank? They look at their financial records and investments, and they're looking to make sure they're following the laws. I had a mentor of mine. Her husband was a federal bank examiner. He was a I Spy sort of dude. I mean, he'd fly in and out, and you wouldn't even know where he was. But anyway, I gotta get through this, so I know you gotta go. The vital role that the Fed plays in U.S. payments is that. Let me use. You want to write this in?
I was kind of focused.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry about that. I need somebody's paper, but you don't have yours. I'll stay right here. Okay. The vital role that the Fed plays in regards to maintaining price stability, and then also in regards to a clearinghouse.
To maintain
Price stability.
Price stability, and also as a clearinghouse. Why is it called the banker's bank? Is because they supply currency to the federal banks and credit availability.
They supply
They supply the credit bill and also the money. Why is it the government's bank? It's because it is the Bank of the United States. They tell us whether we're good or bad. They keep the Treasury account. They keep the U.S. Treasury account. They also, look at tax payments and all of that as well. And I can kind of sum up Fed today is that the Fed is looked at as a model. It's looked at as a model. And all of the electronics and machinery that we have is why, the Fed is effective. Now, your exam. The chapters are chapters 14, 15, 16, and 17. You will do a calculation like this on your exam. Chapter 14, the worksheet you can go over and study for the Federal Reserve Board, the structure, the governors, the FOMC, the tools of the Fed, the 4 tools of the Fed, right? And then also in chapter 15, the definitions of money. Please make sure you review M1 money, M2 money. And then in regards to expansionary and contractionary monetary policy. All right? In chapter, I think it's either 15 or 16, it shows you what does that do in regards to those particular policies. Contractionary and expansionary monetary policy.
You said 16?
Yeah, I think that's 16.
Expansionary and contractionary?
Monetary policy. Know the shortcomings of monetary policy as well. It is 50, multiple choice. Do bring a calculator, but this is the furthest you have to do. And please review the money market model, asset demand for money, transaction demand, total demand, and the SML, the security market line model. Those are the only 2 models on there.
Money market model.
The money market model from chapter 16 and the security market line.
We have
chapter
formulas
7.
on the board again?
Well, it's just this.
That's not what.
That's it. This is the present value. Yes.
We never went over what's final.
Oh, it is 8 o'clock in the morning.
Question on the sheet.
Look. Oh, it's just that it's a model and that we use electronics. That's it. All right, let me go. I know you guys got to leave. I'm like so late.
When's the final? What's the final?
Okay, hold on.
8
Hold
o'clock
on.
on 17.
Yeah.
What date is,
Wednesday.